the largest earthquake in Southern California in at least 20 years.
And this was the second quake in just 2 days, a magnitude of 7.1, hitting at 8:19 p.m. local time, damaging buildings, buckling roads, setting fires, and causing several injuries. California Highway Patrol released this image here, the aftermath of a rock slide. And look at this video of the water in this swimming pool sloshing around as the ground shook.
We also have images of fires raging in residential areas and the mess made in grocery stores where food flew off the shelves. And this morning we're hearing there could be more to come. Seismologists are warning of the possibility of large aftershocks in the coming days and weeks.
Welcome back. Breaking news now out of Florida. We're hearing reports of an explosion in the town of Plantation. Polo Sandoval joining me now. Polo, looking at these images, it appears to be a portion of a strip mall there in Plantation, Florida.
So here's what we know right now, Fred. Authorities now saying that apparently a gas explosion occurred there in that shopping complex here. This is just west of Fort Lauderdale in Plantation, Florida. This plaza here containing multiple businesses, restaurants, a grocery store. It certainly would be a concern here, especially on a Saturday afternoon here. When it comes to injuries, the Plantation Fire Department on their unverified Twitter account tweeting that there have been multiple patients reported at this location. And as you see here, an aerial view courtesy of our affiliate WPLG shows some extensive damage.
The British Ministry of Defence has launched an investigation into why and how a trove of top-secret documents apparently ended up in a trash bin in London. It comes as an embarrassment for the UK's top-secret chemical weapons facility at Porton Down, from where the thousands of files originated. We go live now to London and RT's Polly Boyka. Polly, this is all a bit awkward, isn't it?
Yeah, and you know what they say, one man's trash is another, well, in this case, journalists' treasure. It's quite an extraordinary story. It's the Daily Star has got a big splash on it today. They say they were alerted to this by a member of the public last week, and this trove of secret files has been found in a North London wheelie bin, a recycling wheelie bin to be precise. It's the kind of bin that stands outside residential addresses and businesses and people dump their waste in there, except this was not waste.
The body of 23-year-old Mackenzie Lueck was recovered Wednesday from Logan Canyon, about 80 miles north of Salt Lake City, where police say this college student was last seen. This huge update in the homicide investigation was just announced at a joint press conference with the Salt Lake City Police and the Salt Lake County District Attorney. The suspect, 31-year-old Ayula Ajayi, was arrested last week. Mackenzie was from the Los Angeles area but attended college at the University of Utah. She had just returned to Salt Lake City after attending her grandmother's funeral in California. Police say she caught a ride from the airport to a nearby park where she met with the suspect. The suspect told investigators he texted with Mackenzie the day prior, but police are not releasing how the two became connected. Salt Lake City police say they found items that belonged to Lueck in the backyard of his Salt Lake City home. They also say they found human tissue in his backyard.
Funerals have been held for the 14 Russian Navy officers who died when a fire broke out on their submarine in the Barents Sea on Monday. The Kremlin has said it wouldn't release much information as it was on a secret mission, but it did confirm that the submarine was nuclear powered and that its reactor was not damaged. The men were interred next to the graves of some of the crew members of the Kursk, a naval submarine that sank in 2000, killing all of the 118 sailors on board. That was Russia's worst submarine disaster.
A beaming smile from Paige Winter, showing off her new prosthetic leg, wearing those rainbow glitter shoes. Her family and friends all there to welcome her home. Tonight, the 17-year-old is out of the hospital a full month after she went in, following that shark attack while she was swimming at a North Carolina beach.
The deepest I got was like waist deep, and then I got pulled underwater.
The shark pulling Paige under.
Reached down underwater, and I tried to like pry it off of me.
Her dad coming to the rescue, fighting the shark until it released Paige.
Is she awake and breathing?
If she is, she's barely. She's in bad shape. I mean, her leg is almost gone.
Her hands badly injured, doctors forced to amputate her left leg. But despite it all, Paige told our Robin Roberts she wasn't giving up.
A second successive day of protests in the capital Lilongwe this week, demanding the resignation of President Peter Mutharika. Demonstrators say the result of his re-election in May was rigged. Mutharika, who narrowly beat his rival, Lazarus Chakwera, denies fraud. Chakwera is leader of the opposition Malawi Congress Party. He joined Malawi's former president, Saulos Chilima, of the United Transformation Movement in a protest march on Thursday. They want the result annulled and the election rerun. Protesters looted and vandalized shops earlier this week. The oppositions blame supporters of the governing Democratic Progressive Party for attacking their protesters and damaging property. In Blantyre, police fired tear gas at opposition protesters who threw stones and tried to storm the governing party's headquarters. Government buildings were set alight in Mzuzu district. Weeks of anti-government protests have targeted the Electoral Commission.
Firefighters are still battling a stubborn wildfire on the Greek island of Evia as high winds and soaring temperatures continue to stoke the flames. Several villages close to the blaze were preemptively evacuated, and support, including additional firefighters, fire engines, planes and helicopters, were drafted in from across the country. As yet, there are no reports of injuries or damage to homes. However, authorities have been unable to bring the fire, which started on Thursday, under control, as extinguished areas kept reigniting. According to police, one man has been arrested in connection to the blaze.
The Dalai Lama turned 84 in Dharamshala, the city in northern India where he lives in self-imposed exile. Hundreds of Tibetan exiles and refugees helped him celebrate. The birthday party included children who have never set foot in their country, Tibet. The remote and mainly Buddhist territory in the Himalayan mountain range is an autonomous region of China, part of a region known as the Roof of the World. Birthday celebrations too in India's capital. Thousands of Tibetans live in New Delhi after escaping what they say is Chinese oppression. In March, Tibetans marked 60 years since their uprising against Chinese rule. The Dalai Lama's birthday message this year is of compassion, religious harmony, and the importance of spreading Tibetan knowledge. He's not just seen by Buddhists as a living god, but also a symbol of Tibetan freedom.
Fucking is that a comet? This way. What about this way? Look at all of them. I know, right? Holy cow.
A day of mixed emotions for Algerians, celebrating independence from France in 1962, while also demanding the complete overhaul of the establishment that's ruled ever since. Many Algerians say they feel betrayed by their political elite and have lost trust in the government. They also doubt the interim president is the right person to run the country at this critical time. On Thursday, Abdelkader Ben Salah called for national dialogue about arranging a presidential election, but didn't set a date for when that might be. On the streets, the discontent continues.